So learning all the modes on guitar can be very daunting, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You have your standard 3-note per string shapes, that kind of thing, or you have your more closed fingering shapes. Right, they're all the same thing, they're all different ways to play the same notes on your fretboard. And one of my favorite ways to do it is this way I came up with, where you just use one fingering, the 1, 2, 4 fingering, and we learn 2 shapes, and using those 2 shapes you can actually play every mode everywhere on the fretboard, rather than having to learn 7 individual patterns with lots of different fingerings in them. So in this video I'm going to show you how to play this. First of all, we're just going to learn the shape, and then we're going to go over how you can move it around to get the mode that you desire to play. So let's look at this chart here and the green dots, and just for now ignore all the symbols that are in the middle or all the letters that are in the middle of some of the dots, and we're just going to play it as it's written. So we're going to start on the 2nd fret of the low E, and we're going to play with our first finger, middle finger, and then our pinky on the 5th fret. So 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret. This is going to be our fingering for all these shapes. Then we hop up and we play the same fingering, first finger, 2nd finger, pinky. Then we slide across here 2 frets to the 7th fret of the A. So we've gone 2, 3, 5 on the E, then 2, 3, 5 on the A, then we slide across 2 frets. Then again, following the green dots, we play the 4th fret with our first finger, 5th fret and 7th fret on the D, and then we go over to the G, same fingering, first finger, 2nd finger, pinky, and now we're going to follow the green dots again and slide across 2 frets. Then we play the 7th fret on the B, first finger, 2nd finger, pinky, which will end up on the 10th fret, then 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret on the high E, then sliding across to finish it off on the 12th fret of the high E. Okay, so if I play through that a bit quicker, first finger, 2nd finger, pinky. Now here I slide onto the D string, 4, 5, 7, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, slide across with my pinky to the 9, 7th fret on the B, 8th fret, 10th fret, now 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret on the high E, slide across to the 12. Backwards. Right, so you can see we're just using one fingering, the 1, 2, 4 fingering, and we're just sliding it where the arrows are, and we're playing this whole scale. Slide, slide. Cool, pretty straightforward. Now let's look at how to use this shape to get the desired mode you want in whatever key you want. So you'll see all these letters and one symbol within the dots on the E string and the A string, and these all represent the modes. The I being Ionian, the D being Dorian, the P being Phrygian, L Lydian, M for Mixolydian, A for Aeolian or the minor scale, and that circle with the line through it, that is the Locrian scale or the half diminished scale. And that's what a circle with a line through it actually represents in music theory. It's a half diminished. Now to get the desired mode with this shape, you just line up the letter that represents the mode you want with the root note of the key you're in. And this will line up the shape in the correct place. So let's keep to the key of A, and I wanted to play A Dorian. Now, I find the A note on the E string because the note with the D in the middle, which represents Dorian, is on the E string, and I would line up that D with my A note, which would be this 3rd note on the low E string. And I can still play the notes behind it, but now this would give me an A Dorian sound, and I actually have a bass line recorded. Very cool bass line. So if I play that, here's my Dorian note, but I'm still using the notes behind it. That would give me the A Dorian scale by doing that. But let's say I wanted to play A Ionian. Now I'm going to have to shift the shape a bit. Now I will line up the dot with the I in the middle, which represents Ionian, with my A note. So now I'm going to put my middle finger on this A note and play this shape over here. See, this note with my middle finger is the I note, which is now on my A note. And if I put my bass line on, my I note, I can play the note with the circle, with the line through it back there. Alright, same shape. But because I lined up the note with the I in it, with my A note, which is what my rhythm track is in, it sounded like Ionian. Cool? So if we do the last one on that E string, the Locrian mode, which is the circle with the line through it, I would line up that first note in that shape with my A note. And I wouldn't use this mode regularly unless you're wanting to punish the audience a bit. But here's what that would sound like. So using that one shape, we get 3 different modes. I'll go through them all really quickly on that E string. So lining up the third note on the E string, the note with the D with my A note will give me Dorian. If I line up the note with the I in it, with my A note, so the second note, I get Ionian. If I line up the first note, the circle with the line through it, I get Locrian. Cool, so that's how that works. So that's how we get 3 of the modes, just using that shape. Now, if I wanted to get another mode, if we look at the notes on the A string, we have Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, and Aeolian. So now we're going to have to find a root note on the A string. Now, if we're looking for an A, if we stick to the key of A on the A string, it could be the open string, but it doesn't give us much room to work with, so we're going to go to this A on the 12th fret. If I line up the note with the P in it, with my A note on the A string, I will get Phrygian. If I do that with the bass line going to give it a bit more context, here's my P note, and again I can use the notes backwards from it. Keep going up. Now I'm playing Phrygian. If I line up the note with the L in it, that second note on the A string, with my root note, which would be this 12th fret on the A string, I would get Lydian. So I'm on that second note. Right, get my Lydian sound. If I line up that third note on the string, the note with the M in it, I would get Mixolydian. If I line up that fourth note, I would get Aeolian. Right, so that's how you can play every mode using that one shape on the guitar. So that's how you can play every mode using that one shape on the guitar. And now quickly, before we move on to the next shape, which is going to allow us to cover the whole fretboard, if we're looking at that first shape, those pink notes on there, which I haven't addressed yet, those are notes that belong to the scale, and you can add them in, and they're in quite an ergonomic place. They're in position 1. Well, it's kind of the skeleton of position 1 of the pentatonic scale, so I recommend adding them in. If we go back to as the shape was written, when I get to this green note on the 7th fret of the G, if I want, I can play that pink note and do this 1, 3, 4 fingering. So slightly different, but it's quite a good little box to play in for all of these modes, no matter what one you're in. And you can still use the other green notes if you add those in, right, using all the green notes. Oh, and then I can add those pink notes. if I want. So there are optional notes in there, but I would start off just following the green notes before you worry about adding those in. Okay, so moving on to the next shape, because you probably wondered, well, it's all well and good that I can play Dorian down here or Phrygian all the way up here, but how do I cover the whole fretboard? And that's where pattern 2 comes into play. So it's the exact same idea. We're using the 1, 2, 4 fingering, but now all the modes that had root notes on the A string before have a root note on the E string. Okay, so it will allow you to play in the other part of the fretboard that the other shape didn't quite let you. So if we look at the second shape, you'll notice the first letter in it is a P. That means it will give me the Phrygian sound if I line it up with my root note on the A string. And by the way, the frets that I'm playing now are not going to be lined up exactly with the frets on the diagram. The idea is that you can shift the shape wherever you need it. So the intervals between the notes and the shapes are going to be the same, but just the exact frets on the diagram will be a bit different. So if I'm in A, I start with that note that says P, go 1, second finger, pinky, then I slide across 2 frets, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, slide, 1, 2, 4, I go across 1 fret, 1, 2, 4, slide, 1, 2, 4. That would be that second shape. Backwards, slide down, and that would be Phrygian. So if I play that track with my A rhythm on, it will sound like Phrygian. Right, now I have Phrygian in this part of the fretboard, which before we had to play it all the way over here using the other shape. Now if I play that second note, or line up that second note with my A note on the E string, I will get, if I get this going, I will get Lydian. If I line up that third note, I would get Mixolydian. If I line up that fourth note on that string, I would get Aeolian. Ran out frets there, had to use an open string for that P note. Right, so now I get those 4 modes, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, by lining them up with my root note on the A string. Now the second shape, just in the same way that the first shape had a Dorian, Ionian, and Locrian shape on the E string, it has the Locrian, Ionian, and Dorian shapes, but with the root note on the A string. So now we can cover the other part of the fretboard that we couldn't before. So, again, if we find our A note on the A string on this 12th fret, if I line up that first note on the A string with it, I will get a Locrian sound. Right, couple of mistakes there, but the funny thing is, if you play Locrian wrong, it actually sounds better because it sounds so bad when you play it right. Now if I line up the I note with that 12th fret on the A string, I get Ionian. Now the last one, if I line up that D note here, I get my Dorian sound. Okay, so by using those 2 shapes, you can get every mode everywhere on the fretboard. Okay, because if we look at this third diagram, this is how they are linked together. Okay, and it will get a little bit confusing, but just bear with me. So let's say we wanted to play Dorian everywhere on the fretboard. Okay, so we will start with the green notes and we'll line up our D note with our A note on the E string. Okay, and I play through all those green notes. Following the green notes, ignore the pink lines for now. Then I slide across following the green notes. end up on the 12th fret of the high E, where it says position 3. Now I'm going to follow those pink notes down, and we're going to get a bit of a different fingering. So we're going to go 12, 10. Now we're going to do the 13th fret on the B string, 12th fret on the B string, 10th fret, 12th fret on the G, 11th fret, 9th fret, and now we're back into our blue notes, or our second shape, playing Dorian in the key of A. So there's that little transition shape. I call it pattern 3 because it's kind of based around pattern 3 of the pentatonic scale, and we have to do a bit of a different fingering following the pink lines, but then we're back in our second shape, and then I can go up that following the blue notes. And then when I get here, if I want to keep going, I can slide across 3 frets if I want to get that top green note on the high E, or the second to top one, and then follow those pink lines. And now I'm in my green shape, or green notes, but now up an octave. Then I can finish off that. Okay, so if I go through all that a bit quicker, starting on this E string in Dorian, if I get that backing track going actually, following the green notes, following that, get to the top of the green shape, follow the pink lines, now I'm in the blue notes, follow that up. Now if I want to keep going, I can go across, follow the pink lines, now I am in the green notes again, but up the octave. Cool? So that would be Dorian everywhere on the fretboard. And you can just do the exact same thing, but with all your other modes. So if I wanted to play Ionian in the key of A everywhere on the fretboard, I would line up that I note with my root note, which would be A, following the green dots. At the top of the green shape, that green note with the pink line in it. Then I follow the pink lines. Now I'm in the blue notes. Right, you'll notice my I note is lined up with the A on the A string. Then I can go up that shape. Now I'm at the top of that blue shape. Then I can slide across 3 frets if I want. If I want to play really in a high up place and annoy everyone. Right, and now I'm in that green box again. Cool. And this obviously, so the interaction, or the the relationship between the green shape and the blue shape, that works going backwards too. So let's say I'm playing an Ionian and I was in my green box, and then I actually went to the pink notes and followed those pink lines there. And let's say I wanted to use this back part of the fretboard here. What I would do is, because the green notes and the blue notes are the exact same up the octave, if you look at the top part of the fretboard, I would slide down 3 frets, and now I am in the blue note shape. So I would play, right now I'm just playing the blue notes. Now I'm back in the green notes, slide down to the blue notes. Whoops. Right, because this top half of the shape, or this top part of the fretboard where you see the green and blue notes together, is the exact same as the bottom half. I just didn't write the blue notes in there because it was a bit confusing, because I thought it might be a little bit confusing when I was explaining it. So hopefully this all made sense, how you can cover the whole fretboard and play all the modes. If it didn't, I have this PDF available on my Patreon page, and you can download it. And I actually have written out all the modes with this shape and written the root notes within those shapes to get each mode. So instead of having a diagram with all the different letters on it, you'll just get each individual mode laid out on the fretboard. So if you want to download that, make sure to check out my Patreon. But as always, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and thanks for watching.